This episode of Bouts Talking Bouts is brought to you by Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Winning parlays, if you're looking for them in BKFC, you got to be checking out BK Bet Shark. Here's the thing, $50 buys, you get a personalized bet slip. It's based on your own budget. You can be flexible. It is what works for you. And this guy's got the receipts. You can check out all the winning tickets. You can peep them, and you can do so at Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Check him out on Instagram and get with it. Got them personalized betting slips going on, $50 buys. All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Radio, very excited to be chatting with an individual who competes at BKFC 52, which goes down on October the 20th. We have Jeremiah Scott knuckling up and towing the line against Chevvy Bridges and Great Heaven Chevy on the show. How's your day going so far, man? You having a solid one?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Just trying to get the work day done before I go spar.
And who are some of the main sparring partners ahead of this one that you would, I guess, credit as the guys primarily getting you ready for the fight?
A real big one that I've had, in my corner and behind me for this camp has been Jeremiah Riggs. He's kind of taking me under his wing and mentoring me a little bit and helping me reach a new level.
Yeah, definitely a great person to get in that work with. And is that at Tushka Boxing, I believe it is? I think I was seeing that on the Instagram bio there as the gym.
Say it one more time.
Just the gym. I think it was Tushka Boxing was in the Instagram bio. Is that the primary space you're training at?
That is where I'm from in Oklahoma. That's my main gym that I come from. So.
Yeah, and I would think in general you're just probably pretty excited about this one, just with it being the first time in your bare knuckle career so far you're getting consecutive fights in a calendar year. So is that relatively increased strength of schedule something you're happy about?
Yes and no. I would like it to be more, being injury free, of course, and all that good stuff. I was supposed to fight in July. Would have been great to fight in July and then turn around and fight now and get 3 in this year. But with bare knuckle, you can't always expect to have fight after fight after fight. And I'm coming off my second loss in a row. First time in my whole fight career I've had 2 losses in a row. So I'm really more excited to get back in there and show everyone that I'm not done. And those 2 losses were just me beating myself more than my opponents beating me.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, because I did see that fight around July, you were trending towards fighting Glendale Futrell and everything, I believe it was, but yeah, just an interesting situation there. I mean, unfortunate that the fight ended up, getting canceled and everything like that, but there must be perhaps some solace to be found in the fact that you got a fight booked, I guess, relatively, quickly after. I mean, like you said, probably would have wanted it sooner, but seems like things panned out, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the timing of the Futrell fight falling through kind of was a blessing in disguise. I had a lot of personal stuff going on right when he called out of the fight, and then that's when around the same time that I made my move out here to Mississippi. So had a lot going on, had a lot of things I needed to work on and change anyway. So it just kind of worked out for the better in its own way.
And what were some of those specific changes that you implemented? I guess curious for you to expound upon that a bit more.
Just like I said, I moved out here to Mississippi. I'm not around the same type of people that I was from in the town that I'm from. Just more disciplined with my dieting, with my workout regimens, the way I think, the way I work. Just made some overall changes to who I am as a person, as a man, and overall a fighter. Made some changes in my game. I try to do things differently with a different mindset when I'm in there. And like I said, man, just overall changing every little thing, taking everything from the old cup and pouring it out, throwing the cup away and getting a new cup and refilling it with some new stuff.
And was that motivated by kind of a similar thing you were talking about before? You were saying it's the first time in any combat sports run you've had consecutive losses. Were the, I guess, wheels already in motion to make those changes, or was that also the changes, I guess, derived from that circumstance of having the consecutive defeats and looking to get back on track, as it were?
That's kind of what ignited the change. I knew something had to give and change for me to make a better a better appearance my next time out. And like I said, I didn't want to repeat that whole step and process for a third time. And just kind of, like, just motivated everything, man. It showed me what I haven't been doing. It showed me what I really need to be doing and where I need to be at in life and in fighting. And just had to make some big changes, man.
And just a very interesting proposition because, I mean, this is your fourth bare knuckle fight overall here. I feel like you've had an interesting run having fought on consecutive knuckle manias with 2 and 3 specifically. So it's like the experience and, you know, getting in the fights is definitely there, but especially so in such like a, you know, pronounced kind of way, like shows that are really getting that big spotlight. So I would think that you would perhaps derive a lot from that also can benefit the run. Like how much does, I guess, competing under, you know, some of the bright lights of some of the bigger tentpole events, like how has that, I guess, informed your arc as a bare knuckle fighter as well?
I mean, I don't put too much thought of it and things like that. The bright lights at first, you know, it was a little overwhelming, kind of come from a small town and being on nothing but local shows. It was kind of it was like a whirlwind to get used to, being under the big show, being surrounded by all these superstars in the sport and these bigger names. And like I said, I try not to put too much thought into it anymore. You know, I'm a part of the team. I'm part of the roster. I've been here. Like I said, it's my fourth fight. Nothing new. I know the process. I know what to look forward to, what's going to happen. And, you know, being on 2 consecutive Knucklemanias back-to-back, you know, that's awesome. There's only one other fighter in all of BKFC that's done that, and she's the champ of her division, Britain Hart. No other fighter has done that. I think Lorenzo Hunt, who is, you know, right now the pound-for-pound best, he's been on 2 Knucklemanias, but there was one in between. So, I mean, it's pretty cool to think about like that, but it hasn't been made too big of a deal, which, you know, it's just more of a personal note to know that I made some type of history for myself, that I was the first male fighter in BKFC history to be featured on 2 of the biggest shows in the road. So, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair, measured way to break all of that down, but I guess in more of like the, I guess, specific competitive kind of sense, like what do you know as a BKFC fighter now heading into this fight that maybe you didn't have in your debut effort? Like what knowledge, like that's sport specific here in bare knuckle boxing, have you accrued leading into this next fight here, you'd say?
Man, it's just in MMA fights, you know, we have our 5-minute rounds, and it feels like forever when you're in there. Like 5 minutes, it feels like it's not 5 minutes. It feels like it's hours. But with bare knuckle, there's only the 2-minute round, so I've learned that things can get jumping a lot faster than what you anticipate or plan for, so it's better to just be ready as soon as they say go, off the scratch line, you know, balls to the wall, no measuring, no reading, no hesitation really, and just, I mean, that's the biggest thing I've taken away from it is paying attention when it's time to go and being ready to go, but also being smart enough to have a controlled aggression in there to know what shots are doing the most damage, not damaging yourself in the midst of things. And of course, you know, the biggest thing is there are no heroes in there, man. You can't try to fight through something if you're hurt. If you're hurt, it's better just to take the knee, lose the round to win the fight kind of deal. And I think that's going to be a big advantage on how things feel, the hits feel on the hands, the emotion, the momentum of how the fight's going to go. I think that's going to play a big part in my advantage because I have been there before and Jeremiah hasn't. So I think I'm looking forward to all that and seeing how he reacts to that type of pressure and those kind of lights. So.
Yeah, very interesting. So I was kind of asking in that context even. So definitely on that same wavelength and, you know, answering that question for sure. But I was noticing and doing my backgrounding on you. I mean, similar kind of thing for your opponent, like both of you with the prior MMA experiences and everything like that. Like obviously the grappling, kicks, etc. are subverted from that, but like how much does the, I guess, knowledge of the clinch and I guess like certain Greco kind of grappling help you out transferring it to bare knuckle? Because it seems like that really pays dividends just working in the active clinch and all.
I mean, it definitely helps having that experience from MMA with the clinch work, of course, because, you know, in MMA we are allowed to punch in the clinch. I've learned that you've got to have a little bit more tight-knit head placement and body placement within the clinch. And, being a wrestler from high school, I feel pretty comfortable in the clinch. It's helped me a lot. And I feel even though we can't wrestle them in the fight, we can still wrestle in the clinch. And it really does play a big part. And just like MMA, it almost dictates a little bit where the fight's going to go. So, and man, I know he's got some knockout wins. I know he's an MMA guy, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I would have to say he's probably more comfortable as a ground guy. I know he likes to do a little sporadic stand-up stuff, but nothing too fancy. So I'm expecting him to be comfortable in the clinch as well, but adding the fact that we don't have gloves and the hits are a little different and we can generate a different type of power from that, I think that's gonna play a big part in this fight.
And it seems like you were talking about Jeremiah Scott with a level of awareness, at least, in it as far as this is his BKFC debut. But I guess I'm curious, maybe if you've seen previous tape on him, what you would say some of his better, stylistic attributes are, and I guess just thoughts on the resume in general.
I really only just looked at his record. I haven't really watched too much of his fights. I've seen an old boxing fight, and it looks like it's going to be a high-energy, high-paced type of fight. He's got like a Clay Guida style to him, it seems, in his fights that I have seen, but nothing crazy or spectacular that kind of sends a chill up my spine or any kind of crazy doubts. I think he's going to come in really full of himself, me coming off of two knockout losses in a row. It's going to be, if not his hometown, pretty close to it, his home area, so he's going to have a lot of support there. It's a big show. He's 9-7. He's been on a winning streak, so I feel like he's going to come in a little comfortable and a little excited, and not really going to be able to take in that full effect of what Bare Knuckle really is when you take away all the lights and the camera and the screams, and when it's just boils down to you and that guy in there. Like, things are a lot different, and I don't know if he's fully prepared or mentally open to what that is and what that entails.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of an interesting comparison, like with the Clay Guida fighting style. Because I saw a previous article where you were saying, I want to be known as the most violent fighter in BKFC, so maybe you can play a bit of like a Diego Sanchez kind of role in that sort of binary, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm preparing to die. Like, in my mindset, I've lost two in a row now, so this is my third time, or my first time back from that. So for me, it's do or die. I'm having the mentality of he can't just knock me out. He has to kill me. I'm either bringing my shield back or I'm coming back on it. There's no in betweens. I don't care if it gets bloody. I don't care if I get injured. I mean, the first Knucklemania fight that I fought against Edgard, I broke my hand in that first round, my left hand, and I still kept throwing it. So I mean, it's going to be like that, but more. There's going to be just no logical way for me to get out of there unless I just physically can't do it.
I was going to say, it sounds like the Wild Man moniker is going to reveal itself a bit in this fight, perhaps.
Absolutely is. So, I mean, I'm leaving it all out there. I'm not leaving no questions, I don't want to come back with, on my way home, like, man, if I'd have did this differently, this would have happened. I'm not leaving none of that to chance. I'm doing everything in my power that I can to hurt this man and put him away. And it's nothing personal. He's just the one that lined up, and I've sacrificed a lot to make this happen here recently and missed some time with my kid and people that I know and care about, and I put all that on hold for him, so he's gonna feel the reckoning of all that. So
I was gonna say, I mean, just seeing your previous track record with none of your BKFC fights ending, or rather going the distance, I mean, just seems like an interesting situation for sure. I would feel like this would kind of fit within that, just ending inside the distance. Seems like you foresee a finish in this one, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if it's anything in my control, this isn't going the distance. Whether it's me on the canvas or him on the canvas, one of us is going down. I mean, for me to go down, he's going to have to put me out, like I said, where I physically and mentally just can't get back up. For him, if that's unconscious or if he feels like the pain's too much and he wants to give up in front of everybody, that's fine too. But either way, I don't think the judges are needed for this one.
Yeah, for sure, and just definitely a lot going into it. I guess one of the last things I wanted to touch on, because I was noticing an interview saying circa 2016 you were sidelined for a bit from MMA. due to health concerns, and did eventually return, but kind of redirected the focus more into bare knuckle. Like, what was it about bare knuckle that enticed you to, really want to go down this path that you're presently on and everything?
I mean, I've had a lot of people manipulate my career and make it to where, if you look, I've only fought once, maybe twice within the calendar year in MMA, and I had my kid. Man, I took a year off, trying to be the stay-at-home dad and do all that stuff, and then after that, I had my last MMA fight, thinking that's what I wanted to do. So I picked the number one guy in Arkansas and drove down to Arkansas and pretty much got my ass whooped by him. And it just, I remember in the moment, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy not really just the fight itself, but just the fighting. I wasn't having fun in there. I didn't feel like my old self in there fighting. And then I was already kind of interested in the bare knuckle, but kind of looked at it as like a gag almost in the beginning. I thought it wasn't going to stick around. It was going to be kind of like how Fight Circus is. It kind of seemed ridiculous, and they were just pitting old UFC guys against each other for a quick fight. And it was interesting to watch, but I never took it too serious until I saw Jason Knight and Art of Mobile fight. They put a lot of work into that fight, a lot of hype. Those are some pretty good names, and they put on one hell of a fight, and it really showed the realness and the rawness to it, and it kind of just reignited that fire that I once had about wanting to fight and just get in there with all the violence and chaos and the whirlwind of things and just get going. So, man, I on 4 days' notice drove to Nebraska for a tryout, and they had a spar with no gloves, kind of like just light touching, and I loved the way it felt. Like I said, it reignited that competition fire of wanting to do it just because it was so raw. It was still so new, and I have a chance to be a pioneer, to be a legend in the sport. And when 15 years down the road, when it's taken off like the UFC is, and there's a whole new wave of people, I can be a Mark Coleman or a Chuck Liddell or a Hoist Gracie style. It fit in that category. Not as much as Lorenzo and Christine and some of those old school guys like Reggie and Johnny Bedford, but I'm definitely a part of the second wave, I feel, and as long as I stick to it and get back on the winning side, that's exactly what's going to happen. So that's really what drew me to it, was just the rawness, it being so new and unknown, and it's a good way that I know that I can handle it for me to leave my mark on this sport some way.
Yeah, well said, and that's a very interesting part of the arc overall. Like, we were talking earlier about how there is a certain cool component to being part of those consecutive knuckle manias like you were, but especially so in the context of like the very grassroots kind of process coming up from the BKFC tryouts. So definitely an interesting journey for sure.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like, I didn't even get picked at the tryouts. They talked to me a little bit. I talked to Dakota Cochran. He introduced me to my manager. He gave me his phone number, and that's really how I got into it. I didn't hear back from anything for the tryouts for probably a couple of months or so until I saw a buddy that I was with at the tryouts, Mateo Fonda. He was in my weight class at the time, and he was, trying out for BKFC. But he had gotten a fight for Wichita against LJ Hermrich, and then I saw on Facebook he had posted that it was canceled due to injury, and it was like an hour old. There was no likes, no comments, no shares, nothing on it yet. So before I did anything, I just screenshotted it, sent it to my manager, and said, tell the matchmaker not to look, because this is my weight class. I've been training. I'm ready. Tired of waiting on the call kind of deal. And 3 days later, he called me and said, congrats, you're a BKFC fighter, and you got the fight. So, took that fight on 12 days' notice.
Yeah, it just really shows what being game and prepared can garner you, especially in the context of heading into this next exciting fight. So a cool journey to follow and many more chapters in this story to unfurl, I'm sure. But definitely, want to be mindful of that time and schedule, like I was kind of saying before, Chevy. I appreciate you coming on the show and giving great insights, but in saying that, kind of curious if maybe there's a final parting thought you'd want to put out there as we're sort of wrapping things up here, man.
Well, that's a tough one. Not really too much. I hope Jeremiah sees this so he can be a little more mentally ready, because I want a fun, exciting fight for the crowd, for myself, for both of us. I feel fighters, we work really hard to live this life and to do what we do. We make a lot of sacrifices that people don't know about or see. And, you know, everyone thinks the fight's the hardest part, but really it's the easiest part. So I hope he's putting in all the work so we can both have a good time. And I hope he brings it, because him, you know, he played a little bit of games of cat and mouse with the contract for a little bit. Like I said, it caused me to put some stuff off waiting to see what he was going to do. So I hope this gets after him, and I hope he's ready, because I'm gonna make him quit in front of his mom and everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking to him at the top of the hour, so I'll definitely gauge where he's at in a couple of those regards, see what he's thinking.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man.
But yeah, I appreciate your time. This should be a great fight coming up at BKFC 52, and definitely excited to see that on October 20th. But until then, you have a great rest of your day, Chevy, and thanks so much for the time, man.
Hey, you too, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, and look forward to talking with you guys more, and ready to put on a show October 20th full of blood and violence for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looking forward to that. Definitely can see some future Bare Knuckle Radio appearances going on. But yeah, very much excited for this fight, to reiterate, but can't hurt to mention it again. And yeah, BKFC 52 should be a good one. And just, yeah, have a good rest of your day, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you too, brother. Be safe.
This episode of Bout Talking Bouts is brought to you by Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Winning parlays. If you're looking for them in BKFC, you got to be checking out BK Bet Shark. Here's the thing. $50 buys, you get a personalized bet slip. It's based on your own budget. You can be flexible. It is what works for you. And this guy's got the receipts. You can check out all the winning tickets. You can peep them, and you can do so at Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Check him out on Instagram and get with it. Got them personalized betting slips going on, $50 buy. All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Radio, very excited to be talking to an individual who competes at BKFC 52, and that goes down on October the 20th. We have Chevy Bridges knuckling up and towing the line against Jeremiah Scott, and great having Jeremiah on the show for the first time. How are you doing there, man? You having a solid day? How's it going, Jeremiah?
It's going good, man. On the way to the gym right now. Actually, I'm going to make a pit stop to get a couple of braids in, because tonight's going to be, it's Wednesday night. We're about 2 weeks out from our fight. So tonight's going to be my last night of like hard sparring. So I'm going to get a couple of braids in so my hair is not all up in my face, and I'll be able to get the most out of my work tonight. So tonight's going to be my last hard night of sparring. And then the rest is just fine-tuning the old earth suit, dieting, putting in mitt work, strength and conditioning, and putting in run the miles and stuff, just staying active, man. So tonight's going to be the last full, contact night. Might get a little busted nose, maybe a little busted lip and stuff like that. And then after that, it's just, like I said, fine-tuning the earth suit and dieting and taking care of myself up to October 20th in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, definitely an interesting time to catch you, but in terms of the gym you're at, because I was checking out on social media, and it seemed like it was shouting out Helson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, but also Carolina Kickboxing Academy. Whereabouts are you training for this particular camp?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you say you saw Helson Gracie?
That was on SureDog, but that could be a little antiquated.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I haven't trained in Helson Gracie since, we're talking 10 years ago. I actually trained under Derek Kennington when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is a black belt under Kurt Pellegrino, which is a huge guy that's fought in the UFC. His gym is out in New Jersey. So very well-known UFC fighter, Kurt Pellegrino. My coach is Derek Kennington, a black belt underneath him. My gym is the Next Element Academy. And yes, I do train out of Carolina Kickboxing Academy as well with Walker Vivian. And then also my boxing coach was my main coach that is getting me prepared for this bare knuckle fight October 20th. His name is Nick Juretic. That's who's been helping me out the most with my hands over the past few years. Known him for over 10 plus years. We've grown up together, but the guy's a killer with the hands. We've been working at the 7 a.m. Legend sessions and the night times as well. I'm actually on the way to the gym right now to train his class and get some sparring in with him.
Yeah, and I mean, making the, bare knuckle boxing debut here, like, what's the, excitement level in that regard? Because, I mean, it seems like you've experience in a few combat sports. So, like, what's the temperament heading into the, BKFC debut and just the entry into the sport in general?
Well, I mean, of course, it's super exciting. It's something new. It's also on my birthday. I'm fighting bare knuckle, my bare knuckle debut on my birthday. But I fought, like you said, I have over 100 jiu-jitsu grappling matches. I've fought a handful of times in boxing, a handful of times in Muay Thai kickboxing, and I have, I have over 20-something fights in MMA. So me stepping over into bare knuckle, it just adds another thing to my resume. I mean, I don't really think there's another thing that I could do at this point. I've done all of them, you know what I mean? And I've excelled at all of these things. I'm anywhere you put me, nobody really wants to fight me because I'm a force to be reckoned with any of these styles of fighting. I mean, it doesn't matter where you take me in the fight game, I'm a problem. But I think that, and I've been hearing a lot from a lot of people that bare knuckle fits me. MMA, man, like I'm really good at MMA. I'm really good in all of them, like I've just explained to you. But MMA is my favorite. That's where my heart's at. But bare knuckle, man, like my fight style and how I like to talk a little bit of trash and how I like to bite down and swing for the bricks sometimes if it gets there. I think that bare knuckle, man, I think this is going to be a really big game changer for me, and I believe that it's going to be something that could possibly change my life because the style, like what they're gonna remember me when I get there, and they're gonna see the way I look, how I talk, and then they're gonna see how I perform, and they're gonna double my money by the time I'm done because when I knock out Chevvy, they're gonna say this dude's somebody we need, and they're gonna want to keep me around. But I'll tell you this, with bare knuckle fighting, I'm not doing that shit for free. This stuff is very dangerous. You can get your teeth broken. You can get your nose broken, which I've already had happen a couple of times. I've chipped my tooth in it. This is the stuff in MMA. So you can get your nose broken. You get your orbitals broken. And then let's don't even talk about what can happen to your hands. You're fighting bare knuckle, hitting bones. God did not create your body to start clashing bones against bones, right? Yeah. So this is going to be a very wild experience, but I'm looking to excel in it in every way, not just in the fight game, but in the money. I want to make a lot of money doing this shit. I got a little girl at home, so we're coming here to take off dudes' heads and go home with a pocket full of money. So this is very exciting to answer your question, and I'm looking to give the fans what they work for, man. People work really hard to spend, these tickets are $50 and more, you know what I mean? The tables are $2,000 a table. So I'm promising the fans with my fight alone, your money's worth. I'm guaranteeing it to every single person that comes out to bare knuckle. October 20th in Columbia, South Carolina, Jeremiah Scott versus Chevy Bridges. This is going to be a fight for you to watch, man. I'm telling you guys right now.
Yeah, it's just getting me fired up because I was actually talking to Chevy a bit ago, and just seems like he has a similar mindset and approach to this fight, just it being a high-octane, exciting kind of affair. So it's great to hear that both of you guys have like the same kind of idea in mind for this one here.
Is Chevy going to hear this?
I would think so, yeah.
Are you going to be able to put mine and Chevy's thing together?
Probably. I usually do that more often than not, yeah.
I just want Chevy to know I'm going to rip his fucking chin off. That's all I want him to know. And make sure that he packs a fucking lunch. That's all. I just wanted to make sure he hears that and knows that and make sure that he's putting his work in. Because I'm telling you, I'm putting everything. My birthday present's your fucking chin, Chevy. Your chin's my birthday present, October 20th. I'm going to my daughter's birthday party the next day from 2 to 4 p.m. It's going to be a celebration for your chin. I'm giving my daughter your chin. That's bottom line. So if he gets to hear that, that's awesome. Just wanted to let that be known.
Yeah, I mean, definitely intense on both sides. He seemed to have like a similar kind of energy, just like a ready to go out on his shield kind of vibe. But he also seemed to intimate that maybe there was some contract delays on your end. I guess curious if you wanted to respond to that or address something that might be happening with that.
Wait, he was saying there was a delay on me signing the contract?
He had sort of intimated that when we were talking, yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Not at one fucking point did we ever... there was took the fight. There was no hesitation or no. If you look at my record, this guy's crazy for saying that. If you look at my record, my resume, I fight anybody. You're looking at somebody that's fought at 135, 45, 155, and 170, and I have knockouts in every one of those weight classes except for 135, and I almost killed the guy in that one too. I just couldn't. I didn't pull it. I gassed out after trying. I dropped the guy and stuff. So I fight anybody at any weight class. That's never been. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. That guy's delusional.
I guess just curious to, wanted to put the ball in the court and see if you wanted to address that more so, because he mentioned that, and I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was happy to address that. He's retarded.
But I mean, you mentioned the birthday component with this fight. I would think there would also be a cool element to, it being for like the home state crowd just fighting for South Carolina. Like, is that an important thing for you? Like, is that a cool facet to this one?
What are you saying? Sorry, you kind of broke up. Are you saying, is it cool that I'm going to be fighting in South Carolina?
Yeah, no, sorry about the signal issue there. Yeah, it was in regards to fighting for the South Carolina fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool that the Bare Knuckle's going to be in South Carolina. They wanted me on it because I'm a big South Carolina guy. I fought in South Carolina all the time. I'm a well-known mixed martial artist in South Carolina, so they wanted me on the card. So yes, it's definitely cool. I've fought on a lot of big cards in South Carolina, so this is nothing new to me. But it is cool to be on the card for BKFC, and also there's a handful of guys and a girl on there fighting. Annie Wynn, Brandon Bushaw, somebody else I know of, but Brandon Bushaw and Annie Wynn, they're some people that I've trained with, been around for, we're talking almost 10 years now, so it'd be cool to just be, getting into this new environment, Bare Knuckle, which they've already been involved with, but this is my debut. I'll be able to be around people that I've been around my whole life nearly in this fight game. And man, honestly, yeah, it's Bare Knuckle and stuff, dude, but I just explained to you all these, grappling, boxing, kickboxing, MMA, now Bare Knuckle. I've been in a handful of street fighters too, dude. Like, this ain't nothing different. This is my life. This is who I am. I'm a dog. I'm the type of dude to bite down and go get it. I don't care if my nose stuck to the side of my head, if I got a tooth down my throat. I'm the type of dude that's going to be right there in your face every second of that fight. That's why people don't want to fight me. So this is going to be a new area of fighting, I guess you would say, but it's not, because in my mind, he's trying to take what's mine. He's trying to take food from my daughter's mouth. This is what I do. I have a job. I train. I teach. But this is the way of getting money for my child. And this is, in a way, he's trying to take from my family. So that's a problem. That's a bad place to be for this man. So I'm treating this as if, like, hey, he said, I'm not eating something with my daughter and my family. And this man said something wrong to me. And I get up out of my seat and I just start to fuck shit up. That's where I'm going at this bare knuckle fight. We're going to a dark place. We're going to a tough place. So I'm ready to go through any and everything it takes to make sure I get my hand raised and keep my position in BKFC.
And you do seem understandably very excited about this new sport, but you did mention kind of earlier that MMA was kind of like the first love at the very least, and you did compete in MMA a bit earlier this calendar year. Like, is the plan to ideally compete in like both of these sports going forward, or could BKFC be the sole path, depending on how this goes? 'Cause it seems like you're fired up.
Absolutely. MMA, man, I was planning on sticking with MMA. I just got a killer knockout with a big promotion that it was supposed to keep going. This promotion was going to be huge. I had a little fallout with them, but with that promotion, we had like $100,000 Grand Prix, and we had the Grand Prix fights went on. There was like a 4-fight Grand Prix fight that night, and I was one of the winners of a knockout within a minute and 40 seconds. I knocked him out clean and was supposed to proceed, but something happened with the promotion and it fell out, and I wasn't able to proceed my contract to fight for the $100,000. It was a big shit show. A lot of people got shitted on this show. So I got a little bit of a gap. I'd had some people reaching out to me to fight some more MMA fights. The offers just weren't right, waiting for the right fight because my record's on point, and I'm looking to get some right fights to get me into the UFC or somewhere. And BKFC has been offered to me a handful of times for the past, 6 years, I want to say. And they finally hit me up, and they offered me a good matchup, which is Chevvy, and they offered me the right amount of money. And if you've been keeping up with Bare Knuckle, in the past 3 years, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships has blown up. The following has gotten tremendously bigger. You've had a big handful of UFC fighters such as Eddie Alvarez, Chad Mendez, I think it is. You got Platinum up in there, Mike Perry. You had Luke Rockhold, and then you got Conor McGregor up in there holding the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship belt. This is a big opportunity. They have a lot of eyes on me. So I'm going in a place where someone else with a lot of eyes is going to see me, see my character, see how I fight, how I bite down. And then we just go back to work wherever the right place is to be. Because I'm in a position in my life where whatever promotion calls me, they're going to want me to stay with them because I'm something that you don't see every day. I'm something special, and that's why I'm trying to make sure that I'm taken care of anywhere I go. And I've heard a lot of good things from Bare Knuckle, that they pay well, which they're paying me pretty well, but I'm looking to get paid more my next one. And they take care of their fighters. So I said, let's get it. Let's do this one right here on my birthday. Let's do it. Let's go get a little bit weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely picking up what you're laying down, man. And I mean, I was already excited for this fight before, but definitely adding to the enthusiasm with how you're, talking about it for sure. But I do want to also be mindful of your time and everything, Jeremiah. So in kind of mentioning that, is there maybe a final parting thought you want to add as we're kind of wrapping up here, man?
Is there something I want to wrap it up with here at the end, is what you're saying?
Yeah, just maybe if there's like a sponsor shout out or just a general final thought, anything like that.
Absolutely, man. I'll shout out a few sponsors right now. I want to shout out Chris Walker with Legit. Thank you so much for supporting me. You got Backyard Sports Bar and Grill, Joey Mendez, Bradley, and let's get here. Hold on now. You got me on the spot.
Yeah, no worries, all good.
You got the Dollhouse, Myrtle Beach, man. Best strip club at the beach. Then you have, you know what? I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to start promoting them a lot more in other areas. Let's just end it with this again. Chevvy's Chin's going to be on my wall October 20th. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. On my birthday, baby. Make sure you guys tune in. This is going to be one to watch, all right? Let's get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's seeming like it's going to be quite the heater at BKFC 52, and yeah, no, it's going to be exciting, man. And just to reiterate, thank you for making time to come on the show, and just have a good rest of your day, Jeremiah. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You do the same, brother.